Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to do Leetcode's line 75 list, which we are going ahead. So this is the next question in the string valid parenthesis. So as you can see, it is easy level question. So accordingly the constraints would be also that much that we can easily go ahead even with a brute force solution. And the other thing which is there, whatever it is mentioned like that, we can easily implement it. Like there could be possibility in easy level questions that there should be some sort of trick or something like that, but most probably in easy level question that is not the case. It's always whatever is written like that only it would be there. So now here let us first check out the constraints of this particular question, then we'll check out whatever possible solution we can go ahead with, and then we'll check for the implementation part, and then finally the time complexity and the space complexity for the same. So here if we see into the same, so here the constraints which are there, so the string is at max of 10 raised to power 4. So that simply means that even if we go ahead with n log n solution, because see 10 raised to power 4, if we do squaring of this 10 raised to power 4, it will come out to be 10 raised to power 8, right? And if we do n log n, that will be also less than means that will be in some limit that it doesn't give us TLE, and anyhow order of n it will surely not give us any TLE. And now the s which is there, it consists of parentheses only these, means a square, a curly brace and a round bracket. So these parentheses are there in that s, apart from that there is nothing else. So as per this we can easily eliminate the thing that if there is some other character other than the present strings which are there. So that is the thing, but that edge case is eliminated, and even as per the constraint we can easily go ahead with even a brute force solution, right? So now let us read this particular question. So here given a string s containing just characters, these characters which are there means basically um, these brackets which are there, determine if the input string is valid, right? This is the first line of question. Now comes the part that what they mean by input string is valid. So that they have given here rules for a input string is valid is that number 1, open bracket must be closed by the same type of bracket, then open bracket must be closed in correct order, that if first brace which is there that is a round bracket, then it should be closed by round brackets itself. If there is one round bracket, then there is square bracket, then square bracket would be closed, then round bracket would be closed. That is the thing. And every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. So that is also one thing, that every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type, then only there would be a valid pair, right? So that is the thing. Now here if we check in this first example, here round brackets they are closed, means open bracket is also there and the closed bracket is also there. Then here first there is round bracket open and close, then square bracket open and close, then curly braces open and close. So like that the scenario which is here is that comes out to be the true, because every sort of bracket is there, right, which is open and close. Now if we see for the third example which is there, so in that third example if we see, so in this third example there is one round bracket, right, but the closing bracket which is there that is a square bracket, and because of that fact it is not a valid string, and that's why we are required to return false. Now for the fourth example which is there, now here order would be required, and the other thing is that as per the order it should be closed, right? So every open bracket should have its closing bracket and the order should be maintained. So now the first one is open bracket, then the second one is open bracket for the square. So now the next closing bracket which is there, that should be a closing bracket for the square, means whatever was there for open and close, it should be whatever is open at the latest, that should be closed at the latest. So that is what is here. Then whatever was opened before that, it should be closed after that. So like that, order should be maintained. So now in this question, if we think about a brute force solution, so it's simply about we need to check that what was the latest open bracket and is there corresponding latest close bracket present for that particular. If that is the case, then it's completely fine and we can return true for that particular point. But again, we need to check some more info in the same, and that is that if that particular has ordering means the order in which it is closed, that should be as per the order in which it was open. Means the ordering, the first thing, um, open bracket must be closed by the same type of bracket, right? And the second thing, open bracket must be closed in the correct order, right? And the third thing, every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. Means same type of bracket can only close that particular open bracket. So that is a scenario. So now if we think about this particular question, that how we are required to solve this particular question, then it would be that we need to check opening and closing in the same order, right? So in that context, what intuition comes to your mind, like how you can check the recent one which was there, and how you can check that yeah, these are correct pairs or not. So in that manner, we just need to implement it, and that is all. So first thing is for implementing that, what sort of, like, how we can implement that, and is there any data structure required for our implementation. And the third thing would be, means basically first thing would be that how we need to implement, and the second thing would be any DS required for that implementation part, and the third thing would be that we need to test that is everything fine, any edge case missed or anything like that. So that thing we would be required. So now let us think that how we are required to do. So now here the thing is that we need to check pairs, right? So for checking of pairs, we can write a separate function that these are the pair, are these valid pair present or not, right? So that anyhow will solve our problem of this open bracket must be closed by the same type of bracket. Now the second point which is here is open bracket must be closed in the correct order. For maintaining the order, we need to have something which can store this particular means order of opening braces in such a manner that whatever is latest, that is at the top, and we can access that, and we can check whatever is the next is the closing bracket and opening bracket corresponding to same type or not. So in that context, we can use a stack. That is what we can do. So here the data structure which would be required would be a stack because of this second point, right? So here we will be requiring a stack data structure, right? And now the third thing, every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type, that anyhow we will handle in our external helper function which we will be writing. Now let us go and code this particular question. I hope you are able to understand till now, but as it is easy level question, so let us just code it as well. 1 minute. So now here, first thing which would be there, we require a stack, right, for maintaining the order. So now here the stack would be of type char, because here we can easily see that all this is a string, and each a string is comprised of char, right? So that's why. Now the next thing which would be there is that we need to iterate over this particular string which is there. So in that context, we will check whatever characters which are there, so that we will be checking. So int I equals to 0, I less than s dot length. Presently here I am coding in C++. If it would have been in Java, it would be similar like this only. Python also same, just you need to change this function, that would be the thing. And even the way you are required to declare this, that would be also different as per the language. Now in this case, first we will check that if s of I means a string which is there, that is equals to open brace of round bracket, or means just we will be checking for all the open braces which are there, that is we are going to check. And this, or s of I equals to this, any of the open brace. If it is so, then what we are going to do, we just need to push that st dot push to our stack which is there, so that we have the correct ordering, right? If it was an open brace, right, then in that context we'll do so. Else if it is not an open brace, that simply means that we are required to check that it would be a closing brace, right? So accordingly we would be required to write a function which will check. Now the first thing which we need to handle here would be the case that if our stack is empty, that simply means that there was no open brace at this moment of time. That simply means it was starting from a closing brace, and if it was starting from a closing brace, there won't be any pair, right, which valid pair basically. So that's why at that moment we will be required to return false at that moment, straightforward. Now if that is not the case, then the case would be that we need to check for the pairing, right? So for that pairing we will write a function, let us say got pair, in which we will be passing whatever is at the top of our stack and whatever our present s of I is, means whatever our closing brace is. So now here if we don't get a positive answer from this function, that means it is a something negation, right? So at that moment also we would be required to return false. If any of the pair is invalid, that means we are required to return false. Else if either of these cases not there, right, we just need to do st dot pop. This would be the scenario when there is a matching, that's why we need to do this. Now these if else is handled. Now at the end what we are required to do is we are required to return that if our that stack which is there, if that is empty or not. If it is empty, means empty equals to true, that means we the answer is true, means our stack got empty, means all the pairs which were there that are handled. If that is not the case, then it will return false, means this thing itself will return false, and ultimately that means that there were some pair which were invalid, and that's why we were required to return false. Now the part is we need to write this particular function. So now this would be pretty much easy function. It would be a boolean function anyhow. Now here what we are required, what we were passing, st dot top, that is a char, right? So char a comma char b, both were char, and now we are required to check, and that only we will be returning as well, that out of these what is the scenario, means if our a means the top one, if that open brace is matching with the closing brace which should be, then anyhow it will we will be returning true, else it will by itself return false, and that thing we can easily do in a single line as well. And how we can do is, so here this is what we will be returning, that now either it would be this case, means 3 braces we have, right? So that's why either of these cases would be there, so that's why I'm writing 3 brackets. Now a equals to opening brace, right, and the b which is there, that should be equals to the closing round bracket. And now same case goes with this one, that a equals to this, right, and b equals to this. Now a equals to, now a square bracket is left, right, and b equals to the square bracket which was left, right. So now according to this, if a and b are this, then it will return true, because that is the scenario that a is also this and b is also this, or either of them, whatever would be there, so that it will return, and we are putting or in between, that simply means either of the case is true, it will return true, that is the thing. So now here this was all we were required to do this for this particular question. Now let us run. Most probably it will pass for all, and then we just need to submit, and yeah, it got accepted. So now comes the part, what is the time complexity and the space complexity for the same. So now here the time complexity and the space complexity which we can check here is, so here we are iterating order of n, I mean the size of the string itself, right? If else, anyhow, fine. Stack, anyhow we are just pushing into the same, right? Again, if else. So now in this also it is just checking order of one check is there, that if it this or not this, right? And yeah, at the end returning true false. So at the end we conclude that the time complexity which is here is, the time complexity equals to order of n, and the space complexity which is here is order of 1. That is the scenario here. Now for this particular, this was all for this particular question. If you have any doubt, or if you have anything in mind that we could have done this question like this also, why we hadn't done like that or something like that, that also you can comment. And if you really like the explanation, you can like, subscribe and share this video among your friends. So this was all. Thank you.